Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'd shout out to the organizers of the air show who coordinated the F-35 finishing its flight display right on time for us to start here today. I'd like to welcome our journalist colleagues and as well as other members of our team who are here today. Friends of CAE, we're very, very happy that you could join us here today. We have some great news, some announcements, some updates. And to do that, we have Simon Hazard, who's the Vice President of Marketing for the Civil Aviation. Pascal Grenier, who's the Senior Vice President, Flight Services. Thought I was going to forget your name, I didn't. And Marc Saint-Hilaire, who is the Vice President, Global Innovation. What I'd ask is if you could please turn off your cell phones. I'm sure you're used to the drill by now. And at the end, we'll be happy to take your questions. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Simon.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We have, so like Patrick said, there's a few things that we want to share with you today. We'd like to give you our latest perspectives on the market trends and, more importantly, what the impact of those trends are on the population of aviation personnel that will be required. So we'll be releasing our aviation talent forecast momentarily. We'll then give you an update on a little bit of what we're doing in the training world to help us bridge the gap with that aviation talent forecast. And of course, with that scalability, we need software and systems. So Pascal will give a bit of an update on that. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing in terms of sustainability. We're very committed to it. We announced our electric aircraft last year, and Marc will give us an update on where we are there. Before I keep going, can you hear me well? Yeah? Very good. So we stay close to our customers and to the market. And 2 years now, more or less, from the peak of the pandemic, we have a better view on where the market is evolving. And where we stand today, we see... I'm too close to the speaker. Okay, so I'll go on this side. Where we stand today, we see 39% growth in the commercial aircraft fleet from 31,000 to 43,000 aircraft, and 18% growth in the business aviation fleet from 22 to 26,000 aircraft. So what that does, of course, is that scalability is great news for us, but we know that we're going to need systems to be able to scale, and we've already seen in some instances over the past few months some systems failing some airlines, some legacy systems failing airlines. And of course, that's going to drive a lot of demand for talent. So the translation of this growth for aviation personnel is 1.3 million new aviation personnel joining the ranks over the next 10 years. That's pilots, cabin crew, and maintenance personnel, maintenance technicians. The approach we take is a top-down, demand-driven approach. We look at the evolution of the fleet over the next 10 years. We integrate our assumptions for crewing ratios that our customers employ for pilots and cabin crew. And then we look at attrition and retirement in the different regions. And that's what gives us the number of pilots and cabin crews per region that you'll be able to see in the report. For maintenance technicians, we look at, again, the fleet mix and the age of the aircraft, the maintenance intervals that will be required. From there, we derive the number of hours that these take, and from that, we can evaluate how many maintenance personnel will be required over the next 10 years. So it's a staggering number. To put it in perspective, it is more than all of the existing personnel today. There are 1.2 million aviation personnel today, which means that we need to create more in the next 10 years than exist today. We will be going from 1.2 to 1.8 million personnel. I'm told that that means one person needs to be created every 4 minutes for the next 10 years. So it's quite a lot that we will be seeing. The numbers are broken out there. 601,000 would be for growth, 684,000 for replacement, and then we have 512 of the existing that would remain active. And you see the breakdown between pilots, 284,000 new pilots, which is about 20,000 more than we had estimated in our last forecast, which was released in November 2020 at the peak of the pandemic. That's, of course, because we're seeing a sooner than anticipated recovery, which is good news. If we break it up by regions, the region that is leading the demand is Asia Pacific, followed by North America, followed by Europe, and those three regions account for 80% of the growth. You have the numbers there and broken up in more details in our report online. And commercial aviation, no surprise, accounts for the bulk of that requirement. It's 90% of the talent that will be going to commercial aviation. And again, you have it broken out by region, by segment of population. So the report is now online, and we invite you to go see it. And if you have any questions, we'll also take them afterwards. So then, of course, what is CAE doing? We're very active with our customers in training. Over the past year alone, we have launched several new training centers and expanded existing training centers to increase the capacity to train pilots, cabin crews, and maintenance personnel. There are a few examples here. 8 training centers that have been added or expanded with our customers. We've deployed 23 full flight simulators in our network to increase that capacity. Our customers have deployed 47 of our full flights in their networks. And of course, we've received orders for 62 full flight sims, which will be built and delivered over the coming quarters. Now, scale is one way to achieve this, and this is on top of the partnerships that we have with our airline partners for cadets and ab initio. This year, we've also announced one with Air Canada Jazz, and one with Chorus Aviation, and one with Spirit. And we continue to work on cadets. But technology is also very important. So we've to increase the performance of training and the efficacy. So we have a few examples on the screen there. We're leveraging biometrics, for example, so that instructors can have a view on where pilots' scan patterns are and improve the debriefing, improve the performance of the training. We use RISE for real-time insights that are provided through telemetry to the instructors so that they're able to better evaluate what's happening during a training session, to have more impactful debriefings with their cadets at the end of a session and during a session. Of course, the pandemic has pushed us to virtualize a lot of our interactions. We've virtualized some of our classrooms to facilitate access to training to pilots and to maintenance technicians and cabin crew. We're improving our visualization. We're leveraging gaming technology so that the simulation visualization will become better as well. We're investing in augmented reality, and I'll speak about it a little bit more later, primarily for the advanced AAM sector, which is gaining steam and speed. And finally, advanced data analytics, which are critical to be able to measure the performance of a classroom, the performance of a group, and be able to tailor and improve training so that it's as impactful as possible for a training population. So those are ways that we're leveraging technology on the training side. We're also leveraging technology quite extensively in the flight operations systems and software, and that's what Pascal will share with us now.
Merci, Simon. I have the mic now?
You have
I
the
do,
mic?
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we all know how complex it is to operate an airline. You know, every second matters, every passenger matters, and every passenger matters, and obviously it's really important to meet the expectation of customers in terms of their experience flying. We've acquired multiple businesses in the last 2 years that are in the flight operation solution software, and it's an important strategic expansion for us into this sector because we already have the same customer base, and most of the airlines uses software such as the operation software to make sure that they operate efficiently. A good example is currently this end-to-end platform manages close to 7,000 aircraft. We do serve, through our system, 1 million meals per day or serve plan through the system that we currently use. The crews, normally, we talked about pilot with Simon, is we add a digital interaction with pilot approximately twice per year. At this moment, with our pilots, we have approximately 4 to 6 interactions per day digitally. It's obviously changing the approach, and it's changing the customer base, and it's changing at the same time the way we provide technologies to the customers. A good example is obviously these technologies are very, very, there's a lot of possibilities in terms of bringing AI and machine learning into all aspects of operating an airline. The first one is aircraft delay forecasting. Could you imagine a day where you know 6 hours in advance that, yes, there is a possibility of your flight being delayed? A great example is the crew optimization. How many pilots should you have on standby at a given airport if one pilot is sick? That's another example in which we are optimizing the workforce for the airline. Flight disruption, but at the same time we do flight planning. And when we say we do flight planning, is we will provide the flight plan to the pilots, and we will optimize the route that the pilot will take. So again, CAE is really having a big impact on fuel saving, sustainability at this aspect is very, very important. We talked about the catering services. A lot of food is being wasted. When we have machine learning algorithm that will predict, for example, the numbers of meals that are required on that flight, the type of meals that are required on that flight. That's another example where airlines uses, and a lot of majors, airline in the United States are using this solution. And obviously anything that has to do with gate allocation. So we also take care of airport staff, the numbers of staff that are allocated to a given gate, and how many people or how many personnel do you need to operate all the gates of a given airline. So all of that is run with optimizers, with machine learning. And CAE is investing massively to bring this solution to the best solution for the airlines at the moment. So it is really an end-to-end platform, software as a service platform that a lot of airlines, more than 70 customers are using this platform as we speak. Another example is latest customers that have joined the CAE flight software. You have Frontier, Bunza, SkyWest, just for an example, SkyWest being the largest regional airline in the world that are joining what we call the next-gen solution, which is really our latest advancement into these technologies. But we serve most customers. We have customers in Asia, such as Singapore Airlines, JAL, you can think of American Airlines, you can think of United. So we have like a global footprint with these solutions already as we speak through the acquisition of Sabre Air Center that we did about a year ago. On this.
Thank you. Thank you, Pascal. So we saw how as an industry we need to grow and how we can support that growth. But as an industry, we know that if we want to grow, we need to grow sustainably. And for CAE, sustainability is at the core of who we are. We have become Canadian aerospace carbon neutral company in 2020. Last year alone, we saved 5 million tons of CO2 by moving training off of live aircraft onto simulation. And Mark will speak about how we can do even more with the electrification of our fleet. Pascal spoke about his solutions. They have a direct impact on fuel savings for our customers, either by using more optimized flight routes like you explained, by carrying less food, and so less payload equals less fuel. Of course, less wasted food as well. So sustainability is key and core to us. We also are leaning forward quite a bit in terms of electric aviation with eVTOLs and the AAM space, Advanced Air Mobility space. So all of the technologies and services that we've developed for the commercial and business aviation space, we're also leaning forward and adapting into the Advanced Air Mobility space. We've developed the 700 MXR, which we announced last year at Farnborough, which is a training device which is more adapted to the Advanced Air Mobility segment. And of course, we've partnered with the leading OEMs that you have on the screen to help them get to the scalability that we all want as an industry for this green form of transportation. And of course, in terms of electric aviation, we're doing some ourselves, and that's what Mark will talk to us about.
My microphone is on, Simon?
Not yet?
I will try not to migrate towards this side of the screen. I'll say here on purpose.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, thank you, Simon, for this great introduction. You're completely right. The electrical aircraft is a key part of our commitment towards sustainability, towards carbon neutrality. Last year at Farnborough, a year ago, we've announced a program, a quick refresh of the program. We are currently developing a modification kit to retrofit our fleet of Piper aircraft. We operate our large fleet of training aircraft in our flight training center, and we are committed to convert up to 80 of those aircraft to electrical propulsion. We're developing that modification kit under a supplement type certificate with our partner. Piper is here. We have the battery, the motor. I could name them all, and I will touch on them shortly. And part of our commitment towards the sustainment and the carbon neutrality of the aerospace industry, we're also committed to make that supplement kit or retrofit kit available commercially to third parties who are interested to convert the electrical fleet. So that's what we've announced last summer. Where we are. At the root, of the story, this is essentially a classic aerospace program, So we're talking about aircraft layout, aerodynamic, weight, CG, loads, system architecture, compliance basis. We've gone through all of that with an engineering team led by Stella, who have done incredible work. We have progressed from engineering drawing to first articles. Okay, so receive our first articles of battery and motors, and we've commissioned a power test rig. A power test rig that tests the interface between the battery power to the motor, the electrical motor, in a controlled way. The power on milestone has been achieved. Majority of the electrical testing milestones are now completed. We have control of the motor power from the battery. We are now moving, and last week we have moved into the iconic NRC Ottawa test facility for thermal testing. The motor, the electrical motor, generates heat under the cowl, and that heat must be evacuated for the motor to operate correctly. So ion testing under duress, under power of the electrical motor is happening as we speak. Our key partners, H55, who's currently developing a battery system and is already flying prototypes of a different aircraft on their own, giving us assurance that this is not a one in a lifetime, but it's a proven design and battery system that will live on other aircraft. And the giant tier one supplier, Safran, who doesn't need any introduction, but who's completely committed into producing a new family of electrical motor, the Ingenious family. As well as I recognize in the room, familiar faces, all coming from the Montreal Aerospace Valley, who are experienced aerospace engineers helping us into the certification and the development of detailed design, structural layout, and system work on the aircraft. To all the partners, I applaud your leadership into the same journey towards sustainability as we've engaged, and I thank you very much for your support. The third element that you see at the bottom is, this is where CAE key expertise comes together in a real material way. We operate training aircraft en masse, large quantity. We do several sorties every day. We know, and we operate them to deliver training, essentially, training curriculums, elements of the training curriculums. So we know how to package training curriculum requirements to sorties and eventually flight. So we are rearranging a training curriculum around the performance and the capability of electrical aircraft. And we're probably the best people suited to achieve this. In addition, instead of bringing fuel, and avgas to the aircraft on the tarmac, on the ramp, you need to bring electricity for the recharge. Electricity to the tune of megawatts, from the grid, under the tarmac, up to the aircraft. And to help us in that journey, we have commissioned the help of the U.S. National Research Establishment Laboratory, which is located in Colorado. They are very familiar with the grid infrastructure, renewable energy, and they have a mandate from the federal administration to support those type of innovation. So it gives you sort of a portfolio of all the activities of going from an electrical aircraft or conventional aircraft to electricity to training into an operational high-tempo environment. I have don't start it yet. A video is worth 1,000 words. I could be speaking all afternoon more deeper, but we've decided to make a little video which illustrates the journey from the last year's announcement to where we are today. So Patrick, you can start the video. It's only 2 minutes. I need to push on the button, Samantha. There we go.
Thank you, Marc, Pascal, and Simon. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to take them now. If you'd just identify who you're with, we'd be happy to take your questions. Sir.
Yeah, Tim Robinson, Aerospace Magazine. On your electric Archer, what's the recharge time on it? Because the throughput you have at your training centres, I would imagine they're always in use. You've got 1.3 million people now to train. So how fast can you get them back in the air?
Am I live on that? Yeah. All right. Recharging battery is a fine. Am I live? Yeah. Recharging battery is a fine balance between economic life and the speed of recharging. Okay. So the current battery set we got can be recharged up to 2C. That's 2 times the maximum power, which it could be, giving you a full charge in half an hour, and it will come, with, all the necessary compromise on the economic life. So I will not commit today. I would say, yeah, this is under analysis.
Sir.
Ben Sampson, Aerospace Testing. I'm just wondering if there's any concessions you're having to make with the range or performance of the aircraft in terms of electric line?
Yeah, we don't think of our operation, our training operation, in the terms of range or time up in the air. We think in terms of training curriculum items, which are packaged together in a sortie. And there's no secret today, you can package several items into a gas power aircraft. For an electric aircraft today, with today's technology, you will have to rearrange differently. And that's what we are doing.
If there's no other questions, oh, sir.
It's a rapidly evolving ecosystem, the electrical propulsion and the renewable fuels. How rapidly are you adapting to what the industry is doing or developing?
Yeah, I mean the industry, the battery, the energy battery is moving. Every year you see announcement of higher energy density. aerospace, with the process of qualifying an equipment, you know, you need to snap the chalk line at one point and live with, but yet you need to provide enough, you know, capability to introduce better components. So our battery pack is based on a cell, which is a very popular format, is used into the electronic automotive industry. So we will be able to ride into the future as those individual cells will increase their energy density.
Hi, this is Chetali from Aviation and Defense Universe.
Only questions for electric aircraft?
No, it's not on electrical, it's on the training.
Good.
Yesterday there was an announcement, there was a collaboration done between CAE and Boeing where the simulators are being installed in India. I mean, the new training establishment to be installed in India. Can you just tell us more details about it? Because nothing more was said yesterday about that.
Well, it's a partnership that's looking at establishing competency-based and evidence-based training with our partner, and we're starting in India, but we're looking at a broader reach eventually. But the first use case that we're looking at is indeed in India, because there's a need there right now with our partner.
So why India for that specifically?
Well, there's a need there for this training in India, and that's why we've started there. We agreed with our partner that this was an area where we wanted to start. We had to start somewhere, and there's a lot of demand in India, of course, at the moment, so it made perfect sense for us to start there, and we hope to see more after that.
And when do we start with the training on that? What's the time when the training starts with your organization?
Now, we're already a big training provider in India. We're very present in India, so we're already delivering a lot of training in India. That specific curriculum, I don't know when exactly it will start being delivered, but I suspect soon, yeah.
Sir?
Yeah, Tim Robinson again. So, my question is the 1.3 million people we need in the next 10 years. So, the industry has now got a skills gap, a talent crunch, supply chain problems already. So, my question is, how do we get more people into the industry?
Yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts on that?
No, it's a very good question and a very important question. So what we're doing is raising awareness as far as the fact that these are very good professions to get into. It's the first thing. These are professions, especially if you look at pilots, maintenance technicians, that are male-dominated today. So we want to make sure to raise awareness to the fact that these are a great career for women as well. So inclusion is very important, and we support Women in Flight program to raise awareness, to support young, aspiring women to become pilots and for them to become role models so that more women will be aware of this profession. And it's a reach out in the industry. I think we need to communicate this. We need to establish the infrastructure to be able to bring that talent pool to be able to target the requirement. Yeah, absolutely. So we've been playing around with augmented reality for quite a long time. Today, when the advanced air mobility market came to be, we thought that the training requirements were different in the sense that you have one pilot very close to the ground, so the visual is very important, and the ground is very important as well as part of the mission. You're closer to the ground. It's also a market that will require different economics, and so we've developed the 700 MXR to be a device that is going to be as immersive as possible, and we're in discussions with the authorities now to bring it to a level of as high a level of qualification as we can to support the OEMs and the operators over the next coming months and years.
And with that, oh, there you go.
Thank you. Hello, Jose Suarez from En el Aire, Mexico. Two questions. First, are you considering on the forecast Mexico as South America or North America? It's mainly North America. I don't know if you said that, but if you did, I apologize. And second, one of the main problems in Latin America for becoming a pilot, that we really need pilots down there, is the cost of the studies. So what is CAE's vision in order to make the aviation industry more affordable for people that want to study it?
Yeah. Roger, I believe it's North America?
North America and then South America. That's the way we divide
Yeah,
it.
so Mexico is accounted in the numbers for North America. And you know what we've discussed today, the electrification, moving aircraft, flying off of aircraft onto simulation are things that can help reduce the cost of becoming a pilot. Partnerships with airlines are important as well, so that cadets understand that there is a profession afterwards and that they can pay off a certain of these loans. But yes, it is a challenge, and the industry as a whole has to work on that.
I'm looking everywhere. All right. With that, thank you very, very much for joining us here at CAE today, and have a great rest of your show.